Everybody, hello, welcome to Hot Dad's Pod. Oh my God, we did the same one.
We fucking crushed episode
Amazing.
39.
I know.
Finally.
400 episodes in, we finally figured out how to sync up when we say that. You can find us on Instagram at Hot Dad's Pod. You can email us at hotdadspod@gmail.com with all of your complaints and your dick pics.
Other people's dick pics.
Whatever you want.
Haven't plugged that in a while.
It's
Not
going to
yours.
be amazing. Gracie, tell them where they can
Dick
find
pics
you.
We're gonna get are gonna be incredible. Save Gracie Canaan. I'm not gonna spell it anymore because I've spelled it every time.
Okay,
and you guys
cool.
should just be able to find me.
On all of the platforms, you can find me, Maria Heinegg, MariaHeinegg. And now let's welcome our amazing guest. He is a comedian, Robby Collins.
Yay! What's happening, guys?
Oh, I love that you did a little cheer for yourself.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Should we describe you as anything other than a comedian? Would you call it like a writer, an actor? Like what's...
A comedian, writer, and actor, but mostly a comedian.
Okay.
I like to introduce myself as a comedian.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
An
'cause
international comedian.
international.
Global
Yes.
sensation.
But you know, it's so hard introducing yourself as a comedian until you've kind of done something with your career. Do you remember introducing yourself as a comedian at first?
No, I
That was
definitely
stressful.
didn't.
I think
Because people wanted you to prove your comic
I don't
talents.
feel like I would get... people are just like, oh, where do you do stand-up? Like that would be...
Oh, is it?
That would be the question I would get. But maybe it's different in South Africa. Maybe they're
Yeah.
more like, explain yourself.
Yeah, in South Africa, it's just like,
They prove it?
What do you mean, comedian? We haven't seen you on TV. And then
Really? That's so brutal?
Yeah, it's pretty
that's
hectic.
rough.
Tell me a joke. I think the culture of stand-up is a lot kinder in New York.
Well, also, it's such an American thing where you just assume that everyone is trying to make it and everyone is a little bit delusional. So if you
Right.
meet someone that's like, I'm a dancer, I'm an actor, it's like you could be any level of that. And like, it probably means you're a waiter, but I'm going to acknowledge you as an
Right.
actor.
Barista or a barista.
That is
Right.
that is true. Also in South Africa, before Trevor Noah made it big, like saying you did comedy or saying you wanted to do comedy just sounded like you wanted to stay out. Like there wasn't actually a
scene.
or level of success. So until Trevor made it, then it was like, oh, okay, you do comedy.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you actually in an industry that exists.
Yeah.
The same thing was the case like in India. Like, I don't know if you know Kanis Sirka,
Yes.
but she was one of like the original like, you know, stand-up scene in India people and really like changed the game and made it so there's an actual scene there.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because it's like it's an American art form. So you've seen everybody from America do it. And then Trevor did it, and then we're like, okay, cool, it is possible. But until then,
still not
you're just
very
kind of
impressed.
winging it.
Other than that, they're like, you just want to go to bars at night.
Right. It sounds like that. You want to stay out late and just do drugs with your friends.
I had no idea that South Africans were so cutthroat and like judgy.
Oh yeah, South Africans are kind people, but because we're a small country and like we're just coming into our new democracy, people also feel like when people speak about Trevor back home, they all speak like they know him, like they played a part in his success.
they helped him get there.
Yeah, like you'll meet a person like, oh, you carry on. I gave Trevor his first gig, and like, no,
There's only one Trevor.
There's only one Trevor.
in all South Africa.
That's
Yeah.
really funny.
So does that mean now that Trevor's like international top dog, like president of South African comedian, are you now the new Trevor Noah, like what he used to be? Like, have you taken that space?
You're really putting him in a weird position that he has to be like, yeah, it's me.
Yeah, I'm teeing you up here.
Look,
Time to be a man.
I'm no way. I'm in no
Gloat a
way. I'm in no way Trevor. I would even take that responsibility. There's quite a few huge comedians back home. Like
Yeah?
comedians that tour do arenas. So there's but also South Africa has 11 official languages. So there's comics that like they have their audience and they do well to their audience.
Name
And
all 11 official languages.
Wow.
And then all 11 official comedians. The burgeoning scene.
I think Trevor was the first guy to cross over and be for everyone. And I think he's even like that in the States. Like
that's
white
interesting.
dad, black mom, he's mixed, he's talented, he's good looking. Like he just ticked all the boxes.
One of the few celebrity memoirs that I've read I really liked it.
It was great.
It was really
that book
good.
that book was.
Someone got it for me because they're like, hey, you're mixed. You should. Why aren't you famous with a book deal? Is how I took that.
Hey, you're mixed. You know what?
Mixed.
That's gonna be the premise for everything I buy you from now on. It's like, hey, you're
a black and white cookie, like a Neapolitan, everything has to be a little bit. Yeah, it was from a mixed guy to me, and I was like, this is the strangest present ever.
Was
but
it
I really
from
liked
someone that was trying to have sex with you.
It was someone who I was already having sex with. So
Okay.
I was like, I no longer have to read any literature from you because we've already had sex. Like, you only read literature from people if you're in the sex getting process.
You only read the article if you're trying to be like impress the person.
Don't
and be
you
like,
hate when someone you think is hot sends you an article? You're like, fuck you. Now I have to
read it.
Now I have to put whatever I was doing on pause and write a whole fucking dissertation.
I read a
about
book
it.
for a guy one time. No,
I'm doing
two
that
guys.
right now.
2 guys, yeah. But I'm older and wiser now, so
Yeah.
I don't have to do that.
Don't you hate it when somebody hot and you're attracted to them doesn't read? That's even more frustrating. Like trying to have a conversation with, a hot person and the world has never required them to have a personality.
Yes.
Okay, well, there's a difference between those two things. Because, like, I'm bad at reading books. I mean, I do read books, but just really slowly. But I read a lot of, like, short form stuff. Like, I read a lot of articles. So, like, I don't think that I'm necessarily without a personality. But I don't read a lot of books.
But there's some people who literally just get everything from Instagram. Like there's some people just never try and, like, get further information.
Yeah.
It's like whoever they follow, that is their news feed about the world.
Yeah.
And then you ask their opinion and you're like, oh my word.
Well, it's wild because it's like there is a lot of good stuff on Instagram, but I think that Twitter is actually the best place to get news because every single news organization posts on there. So you can actually like go to like, I like to read The Root and like all of their links are on there. Right. I mean, I'm saying this like you guys don't know what Twitter is. They have links on Twitter.
Not to.
My self-esteem's not strong enough for Twitter.
What do you mean?
Like I haven't had Twitter since 2017 because when Twitter was really big, they would always push tweeting about the gig back home. So it's like if you like the comedian and then behind you on the stage, like on the screen, they'll have your Twitter handle. And then you walk off stage and then there's some dude who was in the crowd who's like, that was shit. And you're like, yo, let me have a cigarette before I read these tweets.
So they're heckling you from here, and then they're also heckling you on Twitter. That's awful.
I was like, this is not. I can't live like this.
That's rough.
It was like most shows. Like when they went well, people would tweet. But then if you're gonna enjoy the good tweets, you also need to see the bad tweets.
Yeah,
so I don't want to.
I don't think it should be if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. I think it should be if you can make it in South Africa.
Yeah,
in comedy, you can make it anywhere. People sound straight up mean.
South Africa has a great sense of humor. Like it seems mean, but as a South African, I think you're used to it because if somebody's mean to you, you're just waiting on your turn when you're gonna be mean.
I'm gonna be mean back.
Sure.
So it just kind of just moves like this, and like, okay, it's my turn right now.
See, Maria, it's just one big punching circle.
Yeah.
See, I feel like you'd flourish because you're really good at giving shit.
Yeah, but there's a difference between like
You're not
busting
mean.
balls and being like mean.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like as
Although
comedians,
the male ego doesn't always traverse well between the two things.
Right. But I think that's the thing that people don't understand. Like on stage, you're doing it and it's working because you've also been vulnerable, and that's why you can tease them.
Yeah.
And then people come off stage and they're like, "Oh, that's how you converse with people."
Yes,
And then they say something mean to you. They're like, "No, I didn't do that."
Yeah, you're like, no, this is not what this is. Like, you can't talk to me like I'm telling a joke, and now it's your turn to tell a joke.
Right.
And they expect you to be mean back too, and you're like, "Ow!" And they're like, "Wait, but no." I'm like, "No, I'm like a human person."
Yeah.
Because they're trying to do a bit with you.
Yeah.
And they're the exact same person, by the way, that's like, I've always wanted to try to stand up. And you're like,
1,000%.
I had a white dude walk up to me once after the show, and he's like, "Oh man, he's saying these like dad jokes, and I can understand that." And he seemed like a nice guy, but then he fucked up where he went.
you can swear.
Say whatever.
Oh my God, you can swear.
Shit
Are
we
you
have
kidding?
said on here is like, I'm like, how much of this do I have to bleep out for TikTok?
We were like,
is this going to make a 13-year-old kill themselves?
We were picking a teaser for like one of our episodes, and she sent me one that in like 45 seconds, I think every other word was fuck. And I was like, Gracie, we're not posting this one. Like,
It was so
like, do you know
funny,
how quickly YouTube is going to be like, no,
Right.
like, this is not it.
Oh, that's great. Shout out
So
Graham
feel
K.
free to use all your swears.
Okay, sweet. But this white
Anyway.
dude was really he was cool. And then he said to me, "You really got to meet my friend. You just like him." And then he brought along this black guy. We had nothing in common.
Nothing in common,
But I'm
I
just
was gonna
staring at
say.
another black dude, and we're looking at each other, like trying to find the similarities. Like, where do I start this conversation?
Isn't that funny? Like, you guys are like,
that you even had to like convert. Like, I wonder if he was thinking the same thing you were thinking, where you're like, is this it? Just
I think out of politeness we spoke a bit because that white guy was there and he really thought he was a matchmaker for black people.
that's what we're calling the episode, Black People Matchmaker.
And we just kind of bespoke, and then eventually, like that white guy, I think he went to the bathroom, and then we're like, okay, this friendship's over.
yeah, this ends now.
I hope you said that to him. I hope you were like, this friendship is over. And then just walked away, just like, that's it.
It would be somehow so much funnier if you were white, though. Like, you guys have so much in common, and then walked away, and then you'd even have to like figure out. Then you'd have to talk to him and like go deeper.
I think when he got back from the bathroom, you guys should have confronted him and been like, what's similar about us?
Name 3 things.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah.
Oh my God.
See, that's another difference between like South Africa, like in American culture. I feel like if you did that in Brooklyn, someone would maybe just call it out on the spot, or
Well,
no?
it'd probably be someone that wasn't even in the conversation. They would just be nosy and be near and be like, I'm sorry, did you just introduce them both because they're black? How dare you?
It would definitely be a white woman who
Yo,
comes in.
100%. 100%.
There's definitely a level of wokeness in the States. Well, in South Africa, there's quite a bit of that, like with the younger generation, college students performing for them.
The Gen Zs.
Yeah, but I feel it in Brooklyn. There's a lot of, well, if it's not like a verbal interruption or it's the eyes, you can feel like when something's happening and they want to get
not
involved.
Supposed to be happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can feel it.
A lot of social justice warrioring.
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
You know what's crazy though is in Brooklyn, I feel like it is so unearned. Like, I feel like when people are woke, like if people are woke in South Africa, that is like shit has happened there recently. People are a bit like,
I mean, are you trying to say shit
Oh,
hasn't
no,
happened in
no,
America? Because that's hilarious.
I'm saying, no, I'm not trying to say that, but I'm saying like in Brooklyn, it's a lot of very privileged transplants that don't want to get canceled.
I thought you were
And
about to say
that's
very
at the
privileged trans people. And I was going to be like,
I was
what?
waiting for how you're gonna end that before I get involved in this.
You're like, and it's that kind of podcast. Thank you, Gas Digital,
Oh
for
my God. Oh boy.
no, but it's a lot of very privileged, like now I'm gonna say that again. Transplants who, I don't know, I feel like are kind of new to the game, to like the social justice warrior game. Therefore, they're exploring it for the first time and they're really, really hyped up.
I love it, like the idea of you saying exploring it, because it just sounds like you're exploring your body.
Yeah,
You know what I
it
mean?
kind of does,
like,
though.
Like a hippie
But it is,
mom.
it is kind of like exploring it. It's kind of like I want to change the world, and there's so much injustice. It's like finding out that the Holocaust happened.
Right.
But also having suffered. Like if you black in Africa and you go, life is tough, and then you watch a documentary and they go, oh, look what happened to the Jewish people.
Yeah.
In the 40s or 30s, whenever that was, and then you go, oh wow, that is crazy. How did that even happen? You know, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden you're like, okay, so it's not just me suffering, it's other people, but you enter it at a level where you don't even know where it is right now. So it's just
Yeah.
like everything that's been said, or now you're just hating German people. You know
You're
what
like,
I mean?
I have so much anger from the shock I just absorbed that it
Yeah.
has to go somewhere, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's a swing and a miss.
Well, but it's
But-
also
yeah.
like where it's, I think people are like desperate to make impact. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like they only feel like they can have localized impact by like policing other people saying like
Sure.
thoughtless things or shitty things, you know, depending on the spectrum of like, you know, what they're saying. saying and like the intent and the reception and all that stuff.
I used to be kind of annoyed by those people, but now I'm like, hey, this is your, first of all, I'm probably saying something shitty, so thank you. Like if it's a close friend or something, I have friends that are very woke and they're like, hey, you can't. I'm like, oh, cool, good to know, great.
And then behind their back you're like
and then I just call them that word. No. But people that are really annoying, those kind of, nebbish people that are Brooklyn E&M fathers, as we've talked about before, who are part of a co-op.
Is?
Ethical non-monogamy.
Do you know what E&M is?
No.
Ethical non-monogamy. So like open dating. Like
it's like a caricature that we've created.
This is my girlfriend and this is my other girlfriend, and just kind of like this is my primary girlfriend. And
when did this start happening?
When I
feel like I just derailed this whole
originally
thing.
you just cheated.
The OG was non-ethical non-monogamy.
It used to just be cheating, and now it's ethical non-monogamy. So like you have an agreement with the other person.
But I'm saying that's a brand of wokeness, is like the guy with the bicycle hat whose dad who's E&M, who belongs to a co-op, who's saying things to correct you, and you're like, hey, whatever your pain needs to go.
And
anyway, back to E&M.
Like you said before, like let me make space for you, like just saying like feminist shit that you're like, stop trying to like be
sorry
that
if
guy.
you're listening to this.
Yeah, we're having an interesting conversation after the gig on Saturday, and because I met Maria. We met before, but it felt like it was the first time we had a conversation.
Absolutely.
Can you explain a little bit about this show, because it sounded very fun?
Yes.
It was great. It's run by
Surah.
Surah, yes, Surah.
Okay.
I did it last year.
I love her. She's so spicy.
But this time I found was more fun because last year when I did it was a lot of young people who came through. So the whole point of the show is it's a dating show. So a comic goes up and does a bit of material, and then they bring somebody on stage and they kind of flirt with them through these questions.
They matchmake us with an audience member that signed up to be was like, I would like to do this. Like I would like to potentially be brought on stage. To go on a date with the comedian.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And this time it was in a gay bar.
Yeah.
Which brought a different audience, and not just the gay audience, but the last time I did it was someplace close to Union Square, and there was a lot of youngsters who looked like they're just out of college, and they just wanted to fuck. So there were dudes at the show who were like, and the girls were sitting on this side. It was like a prom from the 50s. So it was like the chicks were on that side, guys on this side, and you're on stage, and the guys are just looking across at the girls, trying to see who they want to get with.
Hook up with.
It's like West Side Story, and they met in synchronized dance in the middle.
So it was interesting because the comedy was secondary, and you could really just see people trying. And when you'd bring horny. Horny. And when you'd bring people on stage, like that answer to the person they actually wanted to be with,
right?
They weren't really engaging with you. They're like, yeah, I watch documentaries.
I read. And now just Instagram.
Yeah.
That's really funny that they were just like trying to perform to be like,
yeah, totally.
Just so you know, here's all the things you should know about me, because when I approach you after this person that I've been staring at for an hour, like, here's what I'm going to say.
They lean over, they're like, ask me how big my dick is. Well, so I can. It's so small.
Yeah.
You were great with the guy you're on stage with.
Oh, thanks. He wasn't very chatty, so I just felt like I wanted to like keep the conversation, they weren't very chatty.
Sorry, my bad. Yes,
no, that's
yes, and you got a kiss on your lips.
I did. I went to do like a cheek
there were
kiss.
Two.
Yeah, there was a cheek kiss that I gave them, and then they came back to give me one, but they went straight for the lips, and I was like,
I could see you trying to avoid this.
I was like, okay, like let's not be presumptuous.
They found your lips. They found it. I could see the connection. Like,
I had two guys come up afterward and be like, so what is it that you look for in a person? And I was like, I'm not dating right now. Like, what do you say to get out of that? You know what I mean?
I actually have 30 minutes until I explode.
Yeah, exactly. I'm dying, so I don't want to put this on anyone. So I just made that up. And then a third guy who's He's showed up at a few too many shows.
Yep.
So I actually had Robbie like walk with me to the subway so that I was seen with a man.
You don't want to lose a fan and gain a stalker
alone. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You just don't want the interaction.
Yeah.
I think it's just awkward. But what we're having this conversation about, like, I have 3 sisters, and I never approach ladies. Like, if I have a female friend who was flirting with me, I never saw it as flirting because I just thought they were friendly. Because my sisters would always complain about losing male friends who stepped over that line and thought they were trying to flirt with them. So it's always that, like, I think it also just goes back to wokeness. I feel like a lot of people try and feel or speak on behalf of a specific
group that they're not a part of.
And then I was like, no, maybe if you just have a conversation with somebody from that group or community, you'll kind of understand what they're looking for. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think just with my relationship with my sisters, I kind of understood, like, okay, I'd rather be slow to thinking this is flirting than thinking every girl who laughs at a joke. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'd rather
You're the only male comedian that works that way, just for the record.
Honestly,
I just feel like it's better for my career. It's better for everything.
that's really what it is. It's more than being a good person. We out here trying to not get canceled.
Yeah, but I'd rather somebody say, hey, I actually like you. You're not doing anything about it, than assume everybody likes you.
See, that's tough because women don't really like to like make the direct move. Like we like to be like,
Really?
and then just like
You don't do that?
I mean occasionally, but it's like you want to be, it's like it's very vulnerable, right? Like men are used to having to like put themselves out there and be like, do you want to fuck? You know what I mean?
Right.
And just like be more aggressive about it.
Yeah, usually
And-
like a postcard,
and-
calligraphy.
Yeah,
Something.
a rolled up
Charcoal
scroll that they
dick
send.
picture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But then women were more used to sort of like putting out subtle signals and being like, unfortunately, really similar to women that are just trying to be friendly, like as a friend. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so then you guys have to go through the strange deciphering of like, is she being friendly because she wants to be my friend, or is she being friendly because she's into me? And it's a very thin line.
It is. I've come off stage and there were the table of ladies who I thought were very attractive, but I thought the one was like, I liked the one, and I sent shots over to the table, and then another one came over.
Oh boy!
And I was like, all right, let's talk.
See, that's a rookie.
But it's like throwing bait. I was like, what am I catching?
Yeah.
But it was a good comment.
And welcome to dating. I'm just throwing chum into the water and see what comes out.
What's great about that is it's like you made a cool move of like sending the shots over, but really the thing you have to do in that situation is you have to send a drink just to the one that you like.
That seems so mean to the others.
I get what you're saying. I mean, I guess why don't you send a drink to the one you like and then shots to the rest of the table? How about that? Because then it makes it really clear.
Insane. That's like
That's great.
way too much. Because also,
I should have sent her back. Sorry, that.
no, you treat her like you treated a drink that you didn't get. Be like, oh, actually, I ordered something else.
Yeah.
Can you
Be
go
like,
get that one
This
for
is
me?
a little undercooked. Can I send it back to the
Yeah, I'm kind of worried.
That's
that's
rough.
actually a tied and true, maybe slightly misogynistic
Tried and
wingman.
true.
Tied and true. No,
Tried.
tied and true, because I'm going to
Okay,
go
all
into
right.
BDSM.
No, don't
I'm
say-
trying to save it.
Yeah,
I'm
don't
trying to
say
save
what it is. That's fine. Say whatever you want.
It's not a thing, but is where you warm up to the person's friend to be like, hey, I'm a cool person and I'm also not paying that much attention to you. And then
Oh, you mean negging them? That's negging.
Is it?
Yeah,
Where it's
if you like flirt with someone's friend to try
you
to
adjacent
get, like, them to
flirt?
be interested.
That's never worked for me.
What do you call it?
Negging.
Negging.
So there's this book called The Game. This is not the first time we've talked about this book on the podcast.
The game for females or males?
For men to like
Pick
play with women's minds to get them interested.
It's an
wow.
incel gatekeeping tool,
Yeah.
like the gateway
Yeah.
to
so,
incel.
So basically,
Okay.
you define this like whatever goofy persona like you want. Like one of the guys in this book is like basically
Silly, a lot of rollerblades,
it's
funny
like-
hats.
Basically, one of them is a magician. Okay, which like I can't think of anything less sexy than
A
that.
cape. I call
Yeah,
it
he literally like he has like the steampunk glasses, and I mean it's like a lot of velvet.
Which mixed guy gave you this book to read?
Same guy, my ex. He's really he's a book peddler.
Yeah, I saw
like,
you
you
reading.
seem emotionally mixed. Here's a book for you.
For whatever you're into.
I'm going to start using that. I'm going to be like, I'm emotionally mixed, so technically I'm a diversity candidate.
I'm a diversity. Look, I think that's where we're all gonna go to. It's
Oh my God,
it's gonna get
just-
piecier and piecier.
Yeah. And anyway, but the book in it, like one of the things they teach you is negging, which is where you basically say like cutting mean things to the woman that you like, because then it lowers her self-esteem. And then she'll get to the point where like she'll like give in to you and like being interested in you
Because she thinks she
she
can't get
feels
anything
like
else.
shit.
So it's like, I
So
don't-
like what she's talking about
That's
is
so high
oh sorry,
school.
you go ask your question.
no, that's high school. I'm blown away by what you're saying, but I have seen this happen. I just
Yeah.
didn't know there was a name for it.
Yeah, there is a name for it. And
Yeah.
so like what she's saying is sort of it's a form of negging because she's flirting not with the guy that she's into, but flirting with the guy's friend to make the guy jealous so that
Wait, to be clear, this is not a thing that I do. This is not.
you do it. Oh, you
I just
do
want
it.
to.
This is all
I
you
threw
do.
it out as an example, and you're like, when Gracie on Saturday the 31st goes to Off the Wagon. How sad is that? That's the first bar I thought of. That like
Off the
nickel
Wagon.
shot
Yeah,
bar
that's-
next to Grizzly Pear on
Oh
the
yes,
Dougal Street.
I've been in there twice before, and it's just
It seems like the place to neg. It
my
seems like
God.
there's a lot of incels
Yeah,
hanging
yeah.
out in there.
That's yeah. Anyway, I mean incels don't know how to neg. It's just something they wish they could do.
But I think
Like,
flirting adjacently is a thing that people do, like not necessarily negging, but it's a thing where it's like, hey, look, observe how charming I am, and then like want
And then
this
want
to be,
this.
which it's still like fuckery, but it's not
Right.
It's
coming
still-
up and
it's-
being like, you fucking ugly bitch, or however you neg.
what up, you fat bitch.
It's playing with
Chapter 1. What up, you fat bitch?
God, Andrea just lost her mind.
How you doing?
Can you imagine?
Unemployed fat bitch.
Unemployed. What a wild accusation. She's like, I have a job.
Not a lie, unemployed bitch. Just in everything with bitch.
Okay, just to be clear, the negging is supposed to be more subtle than that.
Okay.
But I like the idea of Robby, like a guy so nice that he's scared to flirt with people that are flirting back with him, trying to neg. He pulls out, he's reading from the book.
Oh my God.
What up, you fat unemployed bitch?
He's got no cards. Like he's like, that one didn't work. He like throws it, like goes to the next note card.
Hey, whore.
He's like,
Hey, whore, you thirsty? Yeah, sorry.
I
That
want,
would never work.
I want that book, like on audiobook, narrated by Sir Anthony Hopkins. Where it's like,
I didn't even know he was a sir, so that's new information for me.
Anyway,
Yeah.
oof. Yeah.
Yeah.
You both know
Negging.
that? Okay. Did you know that? That he's a sir? That he's been knighted? Really? Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Anthony
You guys
Hopkins.
are keeping up on Anthony Hopkins,
Love
apparently.
I feel like England seemed to knight people when they still doing the thing. Like I always thought like knighting happened after a career.
Like sainting.
Sainting's I think you have
after
to
they're
die.
dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I thought you were saying like they become sirs but yeah.
No, they do it while you're alive.
I feel like they do it when you are older though. Like I don't feel like there's like 30-year-olds getting sirs.
You have to do something.
17-year-old knights.
Yeah.
You have to do something pretty significant.
I think Trevor Noah is like 2 years away from getting knighted.
Getting knighted. Yeah, he's a hero. He's a hero back home.
He's done so much for humanity.
There's
we're
only
just
one
we're just like
Trevor.
dogging on like the president of your comedy association.
Yeah.
But it's president of our comedy association.
I like how this name keeps getting longer and more.
I mean,
specific.
That's
yeah, just
hilarious.
stealing
I
crazy
send through my
things.
sets to Trevor every night before I do them. What do you
prayer.
think? Can I do it?
Can you imagine? Yeah.
Do I have your permission? Like you guys all meet every night in like black robes
Oh my
and do
God.
like a little
Like a secret society?
yeah, like an Illuminati thing.
Oh my God. That would be incredible. It'd be wild to find out the Illuminati is just all from one small country. You know what I mean?
It's just South
funny.
African comedians.
They're like, oh, it's just South Africa the whole time.
Yeah, I love it.
I wouldn't do negging. That just sounds. It's
It's a subtle art form.
But I understand teasing. I remember there's a girl like, you know,
that's
in
flirting.
school. But there's a girl I used to tease, and she used to tease me, and she was really funny. But she'd win a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was like
Yeah, you
getting the
weren't
best
getting the
jokes
upper
in.
hand,
Like
yeah.
she'd leave me like thinking, shit, I'm gonna get you tomorrow. Like, have you ever thought about it, like not an insult because we were friends, but like a joke to use at school
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the next day?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
You're
this
like,
one,
I'm gonna fucking take care of this.
dude. As soon as I get some silence in that classroom, I'm dropping this.
Oh, you waited until it was public.
Oh yeah, that was
You
because she'd
waited-
always get everyone to laugh. She was great. She's not a comedian, but she
should
if she gave it a try, I think she would have had a good chance at it because she would.
Don't tell Trevor. He can handle any more
timing-
competition.
I actually realized from hers like timing because I'd diss her and she'd laugh and just a couple of us would get it, and then her comebacks. She'd wait for the class to just get quiet and go, Robby, and then everyone would crack up and like, yo, because you know you judge a joke by how many people are laughing.
Yeah. Yes.
So, like,
Unfortunately.
We unfortunately are very aware of that.
Yeah. So
But I tell myself the opposite anytime a clip bombs. I'm like, well, they just don't get it. It's like funny's in the eye of the beholder. I'll understand after I'm dead.
You know when you make a joke on stage and like one person like loses their mind laughing and everyone else is like either, you know, medium, regular, or like no laugh at all. And then immediately you go, you're my favorite person in the room. Like you're
Right.
the only person validating me at the level that I need.
Yeah, you will
Right.
appreciate me far after my time.
Yeah. You get this. and
Yeah.
everyone else is wrong.
Yeah.
yes.
I'm sorry, are you a comedy critic? Are you? You must be a scholar.
Please tell me you're a manager.
Yeah. Go.
This lady I went to school who used to always diss me. Years later,
cute.
I'm doing comedy, and we're both adults now, and she comes through to the gig, but she's there with like work colleagues. But I'd gone into the world of comedy, and she had seen my sets, and she comes up and we're having a drink, and we're talking about back in the day. But she had lost. I think because I'm a comedian now and I'm doing it professionally, she didn't want to tease me anymore. And I was trying to get the teasing going again.
And she wouldn't.
And I think it's like the whole corporate world has come in and
Yeah.
interrupted that creativity or whatever it was. Maybe she's still like that at home. But she kind of looked at me like, oh, you're a comedian now.
Yeah.
And you get paid for this.
Well, you finally won then, right?
Ultimate.
Right? But it was just weird because I was like, okay, I'm not like sometimes you around family, and because you do this as a profession, when you're around family, do you not find yourself just like observing more than being the loud kid you used to be?
Yeah.
1,000%.
Like I've had to go, okay, no, engage with what's happening and stop trying to find material in the situation.
I mean, I think it's both. Like, if it's like a fun playing off of each other, like I like to engage.
Yeah.
But it's also nice to just kind of observe and be like, yeah, you guys do this and I'm going to treat this like TV.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, sometimes it's subconscious for me because we're so used to a me versus everyone else that it's less like, oh, I'm observing and looking for material, and more like, okay, yeah, I'm in my own little bubble, and then it's everyone else, and then I have to remind myself that we're on the same side of the stage. Whoa, fucking deep. Oh my God.
Wow, we're both in the
Everyone just hold
What a
space
cut.
for that.
What a cut.
Hold space
Oh
for
my
it.
God! Stop. If you don't stop saying that, I'm going to lose my mind. A dude said it to her on a date last night, and so we've been making mad fun of it ever
I
since.
might listen to it.
Yeah,
But I already gave him shit
he shared with her like whatever he's like working on, and then he was like, "Thanks for holding space for me to tell you that."
Shit.
Yeah, and then I made fun of him for it.
This is the weird thing. Have you ever asked the person how they're doing and you expect, I'm fine, thanks, how are you? And then they actually
Tell
open
you
up.
truth.
You're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is terrible.
It's like your
I didn't
dentist.
expect this. I didn't expect this right now.
Yeah, I'm not really. That's why I think that "How are you" should not be like a greeting. Like it should just be "Hello." You know what I mean?
Scale of
Like,
1 to 7.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a tough one. And also I realize it, like with lockdown, whenever I engage with people, especially with close friends, I think a lot of people, when you ask them how they're doing, they usually think whatever's happening in their workspace is how they're doing.
Yeah.
Like even with comedians,
Yeah.
how you doing?
Especially with comedians.
Yeah, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. I'm gigging a lot. Shows are going well. I was like, no, how are you doing?
You look like you're killing
I'm asking
it.
about like how your life is, not about your work.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, I know I'm guilty of it, where I I'm figuring out how I'm doing, and it has a lot to do with how I'm doing on stage.
Yeah.
And then the how I'm doing off stage is secondary.
How do you think people should ideally answer that question going forward now?
I'm fine. He wants them to say I'm fine.
I think I need to change how I approach
If
it.
it's
The how are you
between
doing is
friends.
not the right greeting.
Okay.
If it's not a friend or if it's not somebody I want to actually speak to.
Yeah.
Because I think how you're doing it's a lazy way. It's I'm doing the wrong approach.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like, it's so surface, right? Because like if you ask that to someone that's not a close friend, like you want them to just say, like you said, like, I'm fine or I'm good. How are you? And then you say the same thing and you're like, great. Well, that's all we needed to talk about.
Right.
But then if you ask a close friend, like, you know, they trust that you really want to know how they're doing. But if you spend all your time doing comedy, like that's, you know what I mean? Like that, I think for dating, it's really hard. Like it's really hard to meet someone when all you're doing is comedy, because it's like, well, you're just going to end up having sex with other comics, right? Because
or
like,
people that slide
For
in
a
your
lady
DMs
must
that are
be
fans.
difficult.
yeah. Well, because you guys get like women coming up to you after that are like, and,
Right.
And for like female comics, like we get DM'd a lot, but in person, I've only been hit on like a few times.
Yeah, because I think for most guys, especially if you got
It's
a little bit of
intimidating.
insecurities, to see
Yeah.
it, because like you controlling a room of 100 or whatever it is, like that's a superpower to many people.
Yeah.
And whoever's watching, whoever's attracted to that comedian on stage, there's like, even when you watch a comedian kill and they're doing it so well that you even forget you're on stage.
Yeah.
So I can imagine for an audience member, like for a guy,
Yeah, exactly.
they're not coming up to you and even dating you, knowing that you're out, and majority of these comics are men.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if they, I mean, you're a man, so maybe like that's crossed your mind, but I think it's more that they're like, oh, she's funnier than me, and I don't
Yeah.
like that, because I think men want to be the funny one.
Even if they're not a comedian.
But also like, yeah, but also like the power differential, right? That they're like, oh, like you said, like, oh, they can command a room, you know what I mean? And
I
like,
get-
I'm just an accountant, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I think that's intimidating. So they don't do it. But then they are brave when they get on Instagram and they're like, hey, you know, what are you doing? Like, I think you're so beautiful or whatever.
You get that?
I think you're so like,
Yeah.
sure. You don't get, you
Yeah.
just went on a date with a guy that DM'd you.
Oh,
like, what are you
yeah. I
talking
don't ever
about?
get you're beautiful. Like I get like
Well, but you get the you're
What'd you
beautiful. Oh yeah.
I don't know. Like the people that I actually go on a
She
date
gets
with.
negged on there. They're like, "Hey, you unemployed ugly bitch."
And I'm like, I will suck your dick. Absolutely.
God.
I have no other choices.
Yeah.
You have shrunk my self-esteem down to zero.
What are they saying to you?
The couple guys that I've actually gone out with, just
No, but
have-
I mean all of them, like all the DMs.
they're a mix of, I have like a large majority that are people, they're the same kind of guys where it's like they have no photos of themselves
Yep.
on their profile.
Got
A
you.
lot of memes. They'll send me a lot of memes, very friendly, almost like brother energy, but obviously they
There to have
want
sex with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But very friendly and being like, hey, it's a lot of positive. Like, you're doing great. You're hot. You're funny, blah, blah, blah.
That's
like
not
a lot of
different
that.
than what I said.
But then the guys that I will go on a date with, actually, I shouldn't say guys. It's happened twice. It's happened. One was like my boyfriend
well,
of
that
2
is
years.
plural, so that's okay.
We're just like, it was honestly, they asked me out for a drink and they'd come to a show before. And I was honestly, the biggest factor for me is what mood I'm in when I get the message.
Oh, for sure.
That is the
Oh, yeah,
biggest.
For sure.
I have found that like more than anything else, it's like, is the message itself weird? And am I in a good mood? And mostly if those two things line up, then I'm like, yep, what are you doing tomorrow?
The like you're beautiful one always comes from like older
Yes.
men.
Yeah.
That like they will have some pics, and what is going on their profile? You're just
Fedoras, a lot of
you're like-
fedoras, children.
It's an old guy posed next to a car.
Yeah.
A sports car that he doesn't even own.
It's not even his car. He's just at a car show.
Yeah, those guys are usually younger and they're
Sure.
like Eastern European, and they're like, hey, and you're like, are you trying to give me business advice or are you trying to fuck me? Like it's a very fine line.
Why not a little bit of both?
Or it's like a really like an old guy and it's like you said, it's like pictures of food, sunsets, selfies that you're like, you should have done a take 2. You know what I mean? Like, just no self-awareness, and they'll be like, hey, I think you're a beautiful, gorgeous, like the adjectives will just keep going. You know what I mean?
See, you're getting a lot more of that.
I mean, I don't mean to make it sound like I'm getting like hundreds of these. Like,
they're all from
it's
me.
Like a dozen every couple of months. You know what I mean?
Have you ever?
I fucked all of them. Yeah.
You've never dated a comedian, right?
Oh, absolutely, I have.
Yeah. I
Dated
also
or
have.
just hooked up
How
with?
can you not?
Early stages, I dated.
That's
a
what I'm
comedian.
saying. When you're out doing comedy, like that's who you're meeting. So that like you end up having sex with people that are peripheral to you.
No,
like that.
I've only hooked up with one comedian ever.
But you are an exception, and that's
Why?
also because you've been in long-term relationships.
Don't make me sing Paramore. Sorry, the only exception. Anyone?
Yeah, we know the song. Andrea just rolled her eyes verbally at her. She goes, God.
Andrea, the front woman of Paramore over here.
It's also redundant. You're the only exception. It's like, no, that's what an exception is. It's where you're the exception.
This is
Right.
actually a lyric analysis
She's
podcast. And we
Paramore
wanted
is the
to.
band.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
And
I just threw
we
everything
know
off.
the song, Gracie, but that's the thing is it's like when you spend all of your time with comedians, like you're just going to, you know what I mean? And like female comedians, I find
No,
will,
I'm better
like,
than you.
brag about how long it's been since they've had sex with a comic.
Oh, wow. Oh, for real? Is
Yeah,
that a thing?
absolutely.
7 months clean.
Absolutely, yeah.
7 months.
Yeah, like, oh, I fell off the wagon. Whoops.
My thing is the only person that I've hooked up with, it was very pointed and it was in a different city and it was once and I vetted them.
Yeah, she keeps saying that she background checked this guy.
I did. I
Like,
vetted their reputation
She went through their-
because you don't want to like go out of town and then hook up with someone and then tell people after who you hooked up with and then they're like, oh my god, no, you hooked up with like
She looked at their mutual Instagram friends and then
Yeah.
messaged someone she felt safe asking, and she's like, "Is this dude cool? Like, is this okay, or is this a huge mistake?"
Yeah.
Okay,
but-
what cool were you looking for?
like a nice
Not a
guy
psycho.
that's not annoying or a psycho, or that if you would say his name in a
people would cringe.
people would be like, oh my god, like
Oh,
no,
okay,
super
got
like
you.
literally
Oh,
safe
got you.
reputation.
Okay.
Yeah.
But my thing is like
This is all
sex
foreign to
can be
men
such
because
a-
you guys have no standards. You're just like, ooh, yeah, you'll do.
No, yeah, for me,
You're like, I'll fuck the crazy one in a social circle. Let's go.
if
In a
you-
different city, it feels a lot lower.
If you're in a different city, it's quiet. It's one of those nights. You're in one of those
Tuesday
small
afternoon.
towns. You're like, oh, okay, cool.
this'll be
We're not going to see any one of
yeah,
these
there's
people
no
again.
consequences
Yeah.
here.
That's the problem is that like
And then they immediately move to South Africa.
they're like, you know, the old Alabama to South Africa pipeline.
Oh my God. That's
See, in South
incredible.
Africa, you know, there's way fewer comics. Like New York City, every gig, I was telling you, every gig, I meet at least 3 other comics just
Yeah,
hanging
new.
around. So South Africa, you know everyone, you know. So it's
Yeah.
like if you're gonna hook up with a female comic,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a real decision.
It's one of those you
It's
got to
one of,
be
like,
around
3
like
people.
trustworthy other
All the
comedians.
time, yeah.
We're gonna just see it as a night, like you know what I mean. So it's
The real assessment that you're making when you decide whether or not to like fuck or date a comic is, what do I think you're going to be like after the inevitable breakup?
That's what I'm
like, are you going to be okay for me to keep like seeing it stuff and be chill about it, or is this going to be an absolute nightmare?
are you gonna want to hook up with me if you ever see me bomb on stage? Are we gonna hook up
That's
after
true
that
love.
bomb?
That's
yeah.
absolutely true love. When you're like, that was so rough.
Yeah, because in New York you could date a comedian and not do the same gigs as them. In
Yes.
South Africa, you're gonna be
Yep.
on stage after your partner or before your partner.
Like same show every time.
Like the industry is way too small. You won't just avoid each other.
Yeah.
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 So it's like that whole thing of like now your man's out there dying on stage and you killing.
And I'm seeing you,
know what I mean?
watch
Like,
the murder.
yeah, and
Like,
then you go. What do you do if your guy goes on stage before you and bombs? You're gonna go out there and try and rock.
Yeah.
And then what
Fucking
happens
roast him
after that
first.
shit?
I mean, as long as they're actually funny, like you're allowed to have like an off night. Like it's not like, oh, one time he wasn't funny, so now it's like over forever. What kind of monsters do you think we are?
But also it's like if you're don't date a shitty comedian.
Yeah, no,
but
for
like
sure,
I
like,
would feel
you have
more
to, like,
comfortable
fuck someone
seeing
that you think is
having a
funny.
fellow comic see me bomb than an audience member that I like or am dating see me bomb because
because they don't get it.
Like if I saw you bomb, I'd be like, it happens. I know you're funny.
Yeah,
but if
the other person doesn't have that context,
right, exactly. They're like, this is all I see of you. Do you suck every time, or is it just in this laundromat?
A bartender I took on a date one time, like I had 2 shows and I had him show up to go to the second show because I thought the first show was going to suck because when I've done it in the past, like
through the dice,
it has sucked. And it was an incredible show. Like I fucking killed, and then I met up with him, and then we went to the second show, and then everyone on the lineup bombed except for one person who you're like, if that's your taste, then like God bless.
It's always that.
But afterward, I was like, this guy thinks I don't know how to do stand up. I mean, he still had sex with me. Obviously, he's a man. But but I was just like, this is terrible.
Wait, but he's only 2 shows.
Yeah, he didn't see the first show. He came to the second show.
Oh, that sucks.
It was so funny.
I thought he saw both, and I'm like, that's kind of best of both worlds.
Yeah, which would have been wild because it's like I did an identical set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was talking to my friend about it ahead of time because he sent me this screenshot because he's a writer, and he sent me a screenshot, and it like had like the day and the date that he had written it underneath. Oh wow! And it was from like 2018, and she's like, "That's so weird that he sent you old writing." And I was like, "Well, I mean, on our date, I'm not going to do new stuff, so no judgment, I guess."
Or you save it by saying like, "Oh, guys, this is all new stuff," and it's like 6 years old material.
You're like, "Oh, thanks for letting me try all this stuff out."
Crazy.
Will never do that again. I think it was like 2011. I was like 3 years in the game, and a girl I was talking to forever, and then eventually she was like, "I'll come to your show." So she said she'll come to the show, and then we go have dinner together. And out of the whole lineup, I'm the only one who bombed. But I bombed
that fucking sucks.
But everyone did well. It wasn't like
that's
it wasn't what like the bomb. You can feel it internally, and you're like that's me. I feel uncomfortable. It was a clear thing of doesn't matter who it was. You go, okay, this is not going well.
Yeah.
It was
objectively sucked a dick.
Just rough.
Yeah. And after that, I was just like, I think we didn't even do dinner afterwards. We just became a drinking thing. Like we don't want to eat. Appetite's gone.
But you drink like a couple old sailors.
But you guys still hooked up.
We still hooked up.
There we go. That's the.
She had heard enough about me at the time to know I was funny, but when she got there, it was kind of like this.
She just like you said, she was just like, well, we're not like gonna go to dinner. Let's not be crazy.
You'll never meet my mother.
You'd be like, there's no way you're doing.
Oh my God.
Bad enough that you're a successful stand-up comedian, let alone a stand-up comedian that bombs. You should have gotten off and pretended like you fucking crushed. That would have been like you got off after an inevitable bomb, and you're like, man, sometimes like people just can't handle the heat, and like that's probably going to bring me to the next level. That bar show. What'd you think?
A delusional comedian is one of the most interesting things to see. Like a comedian,
they sometimes like come up so well because they have such deep belief in themselves, and you're just
manifestation.
I've seen a comic go from delusion and work so hard to like until his comedy was matching his confidence, and that was incredible to watch a person's journey. But then I've also just seen people just like what the hell, and that question I hate, like what did you think? And I always ask like, how do you feel right now? Like,
if you have to ask,
that's a real therapist move.
Yeah, I'm like,
what do you think?
What did you think about it? Jill, do you know Jill Gonzalez?
No.
She's very funny. She's always at the New York Comedy Club.
Yeah.
And I did a spot. She came to watch me, and the crowd was cool. And the comics were complaining about them getting jokes and stuff. And then Jill just said, "No, I think they laughed at what was funny." And nobody spoke after that. I was just like, okay, cool.
That is so funny.
I was like, that just was like, okay, some honesty in the room.
Oh my God, I love that. I'm gonna start using that when someone's like, oh, I just bombed, and be like, well, they probably laughed at what was funny in your set.
I think we have really
Such
good
a tough
taste.
one because you gotta think about your life after that.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, that's also, it's like, don't be a fucking pussy. Like, if you're, stop audience blaming. That's always something that's like so annoying
I think
to me.
I think it's both, but I also like last night, the first show, I had two spots. The first show was, I would say, pretty fun. You know what I mean? Like, I give it like a 7.5 out of 10. And the second show
decimal in there.
was like, there was only 20 people. And they were very smiley. They were kind of like, like what you call like a late night audience,
Yeah.
where they would like, ha ha ha, stop laughing.
I call that a European audience.
Okay, fair enough. But I had a great time with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they weren't big laughers, but they were all smiling. Like they were clearly having a good time. And you could, just kind of fuck around and feel fine about it. And I was telling that to a comic afterward. He hadn't gone up yet. Rojo Perez. I don't know if you
Yes.
I love Rojo. Friend of the pod. We call everyone we bring up friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod.
Trevor Noah, friend of the pod.
We also have a lot of sponsors that are not paying us.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
HelloFresh, looking at you.
Including Brooklyn Brewery. Yeah. On the shirt.
Nice.
Yes. Jesus.
Several vape brands, even though neither of us vape.
Yep.
But anyway, I told him that, and he like had watched my set, and like he laughed, but like he could see that the crowd was like kind of tepid. And then he went up and had the same experience. I mean, everybody did. The whole show was like that. Not to protect myself at all.
It totally wasn't just you.
Yeah, it wasn't just me at all. Everyone else like killed, and I was just like, wah wah. No, but he came
pulled a
off
real
stage
Robby.
and he's like, "You're right. They are fun. Like they are weird but fun." And it's like, yeah, sometimes it's not big laughs. Sometimes it's just audience energy. Like if they look like they're having a good time, you don't feel insecure necessarily.
Right. I think my worst shows have been when I haven't matched the mood or the soul in the room.
Yeah.
Like every room has its own personality.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing 5 spots in a night, and it's walking in there with this other energy or attitude, and
Yeah.
they're like, no, we're not that.
Yeah.
It's because when you think about it, it's meeting strangers. Like, how would you? What would?
Read the room.
you
Yeah,
meet
how would
someone
you
who's
walk
really
into a party
small.
or to a dinner party? Like, how would you address a person at a dinner table? So,
Well, and that's when comics are fun, like not fun, like smart. Well, they'll go into the room for like part of the previous comic set to just kind of get a vibe check and be like,
100%.
what's about to happen.
I did a show in the Hamptons last night.
Oh yeah,
What?
Ooh la la.
That was crazy.
Oh my God. Did they like hunt man?
Was it at a
after?
house?
Dude, it was an old.
Two very different questions.
It was this old.
Man at a house.
I said, did they
It's
hunt
not American
man?
Horror Story. Like,
I mean,
what?
anytime you go out in the Hamptons, like, I don't know what's going on.
There are
out
men in
there.
houses. You're right. That's
No, I
fair.
said, did they hunt men?
Oh,
Oh.
Like a man, like what
man
rich
hunt.
people do.
yeah,
They hunt men.
got it.
But this shit was crazy. I forget the name of it, but like the guy who was emceeing the gig was a news anchor on Fox News.
oh, wow.
So he's got like this what do you call it?
Does it rhyme
Double-breasted
with
suits?
yeah,
Plucker.
yeah.
Double-breasted
Larson?
suits and like those
No,
silk.
he's not on Fox News anymore. Remember?
I forget his name, but he had like this silk scarf, chinos. Like he looked like money.
Yeah.
And
He
then,
looked like money.
but like that old, he had like
Old money.
old money.
You did something bad money. Like
Yeah.
your family is rotten money.
But it was the way and his like daughter's in the audience with her friends, and you can just feel the money. Like food was free. I had a steak that was $39. I was like,
Yeah.
Which
You
is
know,
like
but-
chum out there in the
Yeah,
Hamptons,
that's
by the
like
way.
kidding.
If you're not
Yeah.
getting like on $100 porterhouse, 32
Then it's like you
aged-
didn't even eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Right.
just had an appetizer.
Right.
But you know what I realized growing up in Africa as a black dude, and every white person growing up, you always just thought was rich. And then going to the Hamptons yesterday, I realized that I've been around poor white people for very
Oh yeah.
just like there's an idea. I don't know if it's probably also here, but like where if you're white, you're rich. That's how you grew up, and then
That was
obviously
the perception.
you get older and you get into the workspace and go, oh no, people are trying. No,
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
take the dog hair off of or I'm not going to be able to keep it go on. Okay,
Okay.
there we
Right.
go.
no problem.
You have to remind yourself, you're like, this is America. anyone can be
Oh,
poor.
there's so many poor white people here.
But
like,
it's mind blowing.
and they're all Trump supporters because they're like, I'm going to be on the come up. Like, if I vote for Trump, I'm going to be rich like Trump. Like, that's a whole thing.
Oh yes, but like it's so funny how you guys get us so involved in what happens in this country. Like when America has an election, we feel like we have a stake in it. I think it might be like that for the rest of the world, not just for us, but like we follow your politics. Like,
because we're the center of the universe, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's how we view ourselves.
Very upsetting.
I know more politicians' names from the States than I do back home.
In South Africa.
Like if South Africa, we've got our problems definitely, but it's your guys. I think you just do things on an entertaining level.
Well,
Like the
have you
debates,
seen
they don't do that.
The performance is
There's a
like
performance.
a
The
lot.
debates, they don't do debates back home.
the posters for the debates? And I'm not saying advertisements. I'm saying posters on purpose because like Trump, Biden, it's just two people, like their faces. It looked like the poster for Face Off with like John Travolta and Nick Cage.
Shit.
Like it's so intense. It looks like a wrestling advertisement.
Yeah,
And I was like, I'm
totally.
not fucking watching that. Like I'd rather watch Fuckboy Island or something.
Well, first of all, I've never seen that, but I probably
I haven't
need to get
either.
into
I don't
it.
even watch reality TV.
Have you seen that?
What's that?
Fuckboy Island.
No, I've heard about it.
Yeah,
Apparently
I feel
it's
like
good.
that's the
But
next
it's just
reality
as
show. I
bad
need to
as
watch.
reality TV, except it's being packaged as
Except-
intellectual content.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, except reality TV doesn't like take itself seriously. It's like, why don't you watch this thing that you can like throw away your mind on?
Do you know what the birth of reality TV was? Which movie inspired it?
No.
Truman Show.
What?
I love that.
I love that
Jerry,
movie.
what's his name? Bruckheimer? He
Yeah.
saw the Truman Show and he's like, that's what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna put people on an island and Survivor.
That's wild.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
pretty
know
much
that.
it's reality TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't even put that together.
That's Did you guys have you
weirdly
guys
one of my
seen
favorite
Jury Duty
movies.
yet? The TV show.
no.
No.
Oh my god, it's so good. I don't.
Is it?
Great
Oh, it's so good. So
concepts.
for people listening that don't know what it is, they faked a jury, and we're good.
Yeah.
They faked a jury where everyone is an improv actor except for one guy who thinks it's real and thinks they're just doing a documentary about a jury. And I mean, they
I feel
did it really
so
good.
badly
They
for him. Like he's gonna be fucked up after he finds out.
they gave him $100,000 at the end, so he
Oh,
really.
whoa.
Oh, okay.
Never
That
mind.
softens the blow.
So well, and they were also like
you can
they
fuck my
were-
boyfriend in front of me for $100,000.
They were really kind to him. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the point wasn't to humiliate him. Like he really was like the hero throughout the episodes, and like part of that just had to do with the type of guy that he was. But,
Right.
I mean, it was just you have to watch. It's only like 8 episodes. They're half-hour episodes, and you do get a little cringe because you're like stressed with all the things that they're putting him through, that making him think that all this stuff is real. Like, but there's just so many little moments, like. 2 of the actors they want, and it's the producers of The Office, so like you can tell by like the camera footage, it just kind of feels like The Office a certain amount. But like one guy offers this chick half of his sandwich, and she's licking a lollipop at the time, and she goes, "Oh, thanks," and just slaps it on her tit to like leave her lollipop there while she eats the sandwich. Just crazy shit like that. And the other great part of it is they have the actor James Marsden on, and they make him one of the jurors, but he's playing himself. He's playing like an egotistical version of himself.
Oh.
Does the guy recognize him?
Yeah, the guy recognizes him, and that's the whole point, is that he knows who it is. He knows all the movies that he's been in. He's like, "Oh, I was in so and so movie," and he goes, "Oh, I heard that was a shitty movie." They have him stand up in front of the judge and go, "I just think it would be really distracting to have me on the jury," and the judge is like, "Who are you?" like it's so funny. Oh my god, it's such a good time.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, you should it's on Amazon. Like you should for sure watch it.
Oh,
It's worth it.
A great example of something I'd rather watch than the political debates.
Yeah.
That sounds delightful.
Oh my god, it's a real palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Like oh my god, it's
I
so
love
funny.
Kardashians.
You do?
I really do. Like
You're doing amazing, sweetie. You could have used that
Yeah,
line
you're
on
doing
Robby and
amazing, sweetie.
Instagram.
my sisters used to watch it, and I'd always find myself like sitting down to watch it with them. And then when you're home alone, and the thing that's always on TV isn't on, and then you find yourself looking for it. It's like when a kid falls asleep or gets bored of a movie and you're like, I need to see what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's... That's what happened with Kardashians. It is funny.
I've only seen a couple of episodes because I like hate the idea of like giving them money because they're so fucking rich and like they are all, I don't want to say they're do-nothings because they all have businesses and I know that they work hard even though I don't necessarily like respect what the work is. And
I wonder why they don't get the respect because they are very good businesswomen.
Like, well, but because it doesn't feel like they did anything to get there. Like they just got a reality show. And also Kim Kardashian won't acknowledge the fact that really she jump-started her career with sex work. Like selling your sex tape is engaging in sex work. And I don't think...
Did she sell it?
So do you think it was...
just got leaked?
That was what they claimed. But even Ray J, who was like, you know, the dude in the video was like, no, they bought the footage from me and they 100% like...
Yeah, but she went on Letterman and had that whole thing about how she was like...
I'm sure she did.
Traumatized when it leaked and her whole family was...
Look, I think even if you leak a sex tape, if you know you're going to get $1 million for leaking a sex tape.
Yeah.
There's still a shock, even with their money in your account.
Yeah.
With people reacting to your sex tape.
Yeah.
I don't think $1 million, $2 million I'd still be affected by my grand calling me.
Yeah, well, I don't even...
you know what I mean? Like,
I don't even know
only be affected
that
by
they made any money from leaking it, but they knew that leaking it would eventually make them money.
Right.
So maybe he's lying.
Really, that is
one
a
of them
gamble.
One of them is lying. Yeah.
Like,
Jesus,
what's a get-rich slow scheme? Jerking off in front of a camera.
I don't know because they'd already
imagine your sex tape just gets like 10 shares.
That would be my biggest fear is not other people seeing me have sex, but like there probably is a tape of me somewhere from like an ex-boyfriend or whatever. And I'm like, I'm so worried about that leaking because I don't want people to be like, she is so bad in bed.
I've made a pointed effort. Like I've had more than one ex-boyfriend be like, can we tape each other? And always pitch it as like, this would be really romantic. And I'm like, absolutely not.
No.
Like someday you could turn into a horrible person. Like if we break up and get mad at me and this will not
you never know,
shake out. Or someone can steal it from your phone. Like it's so easy to hack stuff.
Did you see the Indian politician who drained a whole dam? Was this weekend. Indian politician drained a whole dam because his phone fell in.
That's so wild.
And it was crazy. It was like, this is a dam that was giving water to villages around.
That's insane.
And then he said apparently there's like important government information.
Dude,
it's
dick
like,
pics.
dude, there's dick pics. Don't lie. Don't lie, bro.
For sure.
Oh my God.
That he was going to email to Hot Dad's Party.
Yeah, and if your
Email.com.
phone is at the bottom of a lake and it's not waterproof, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're a politician, get an otter box.
And also the phone is ruined. Like if the phone is like drowned, then nothing's going to get pulled off of it anyway.
I'm not taking any chances.
Oh my God.
Why not dive in there too? You're going to drain the whole...
You can't dive into a dam. Andrea's laughing at Gracie right now and it's like, it's so great. She's like, the fact that... Yeah. What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying like you get divers.
Even that, I don't think it would be safe in a dam.
It's big.
No, but there's like, it's big. That's all that you know. And Andrea's mocking. She's like, do you know what a dam is? Like,
Andrea's dying right now.
That's, yeah. Hold on.
We gotta get...
Dams are like so powerful. The water is moving so fast that it powers like entire cities.
There's like undercurrents, right?
You know what? Yeah. Instead of me saying I was wrong, I'm going to double down and say, yeah, he should have been a fucking man about it. I'll dive into that turbine powered dam.
Man about it and paid divers. That was the manly
Shop
thing
themselves up for the dick pic phone.
This is the dick pic phone.
We learn something new every episode.
Oh my God. Okay, so we don't have... we still have like 15 minutes.
Okay.
So do you want to ask him for advice?
I don't think we have time for that.
Why don't you? Well, how about we just cap it? You have 7 minutes to give advice on this topic. Okay?
Oh, great.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay, so ask your question.
Okay. Hard left, hard over the median. I love it. Okay, so we do a fatherly advice question, and it varies.
And that's why it's called Hot Dads. You give us a stay hot tip, and then you also give us fatherly advice.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay, so
Got you.
here's my question. It's my personal dilemma. My college reunion is coming up. My 10-year college reunion. I went to a college that ruined me financially for my 20s, for my life mostly, but like definitely throughout my 20s. I didn't have a great experience there. Was like definitely like it was just like not a great time.
I'm gonna get you more,
but
water, you
thank
keep
you.
checking.
it's
Thank
my
you. Thirsty.
it's my. Should I talk a little louder so you can hear? No. Okay. All right. So 10-year reunion. Here's the thing. Oh, we have a dog in here, and the dog's very attached to Maria, and I get very distracted by it. Okay, so I'm really on the fence about whether I should go. And I was like, guys, I don't know if I can make it. I have like 4 friends from college.
Right.
And I texted them, and they were like, oh, we'll miss you,
She
blah,
has
blah,
4
blah.
total friends.
I have
her-
4
from her whole
total
life.
friends. No, honestly, like college was not making a lot of friends. I was doing a lot of drunken crying on curbs, a lot of getting in fights with boyfriends. It was like kind of my, I was peaking clearly. So my question is, it's like, do I spend, it's like a 4-hour drive away. Here's the really infuriating
4
part.
hours.
Is they're making us to go to the alumni dinner that all my friends are going to. We pay $70 and I still have 110 grand left over. I started with 206.
You should just show up, not have paid for it, and they're probably gonna feed you and not realize it.
But here's the thing is I will regress I will emotionally regress if I encounter any shenanigans or come up against any bullshit there. So if I showed up to the tent and I was like, hey, let me in, and they were like, no, I would be like, well, I'm curb crying again because I'm the curb crying girl. Yeah, it's where you like get drunk on the street, and Andrea is not like, I didn't even have to explain it.
Giving
I
a
majored
thumbs
in
up.
design. I minored in curb crying. So my question is, I'm on the fence. Is it worth going for like these give a big group hug to these 4 people that I love,
Can't
even
you just
though
hang
I'm
out
not
with those 4 people?
Not
Like,
really.
why
Like
not?
every time we see each other, it's really hard to get everyone together. And like last time we saw each other was at like a wedding, and one of them couldn't even make it, and blah 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 blah. So
Okay.
I don't know. Is it worth the? I don't know. Robbie,
feel-
go.
I feel like if those 4 people are so, like, if you guys are so important to each other, I think that friendship deserves its own outing
Okay.
and its own occasion, because it sounds like you're just going to a place that doesn't bring you
4 people.
happiness.
Yeah.
And it's like, if there's some places, this sounds like a place that has a history, emotional history with you.
Yeah.
And
it's not good.
Immediately, you're having triggers already before you're even driving out there. 4 hours. 4 hours is very long,
Yeah.
and it's not just being in the situation. I think it's also giving time and energy.
Yeah.
I think with that, it's like the whole thing. People saying protect your energy and protecting your space. I feel like your friends, whether you love them or not, how important is that friendship to put yourself in that world, to just consume those 4 people,
Right. Like, will
because
you
that's
be
not how a
even-
night goes. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna bump into people. It's not gonna be you 4.
Oh, a ton of people that like, I'm like, last time I saw you, I was like a complete shit show, and I also hate this place. And if they ask me for money, I'm going to stab someone with a pencil.
But that's the one thing, and then the other thing is,
It's art school.
Okay.
Yeah.
the other thing is the growth you've made. Other people could also have made that growth.
Sure.
And it's like seeing a bully outside of school, and this person is with their family, and they've totally taken a change, like a
Now
turn
they're
in
a
life.
good guy or whatever.
Good guy, and they have their regrets. It's like there could be healing in seeing somebody who put you through some shit, who's remorse about it, or totally different. Because like sometimes, I think a lot of times in life, we go through situations with good people who might be in a bad space in life.
Yeah.
I don't think
That
it's
was
like-
me.
Yeah, and I sometimes I have to look back at exes and I go, that person wasn't shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like this, but this has taken years.
But
Yeah.
that's
So
like
one of the people I want to see is an
common.
ex. Like one of it, and we had like we were 19 when we dated. Like he cheated on me. It was all, and now when we see each other, we're like, "What's up, man? Like we were fucking idiots together." Like I'm
Totally.
genuinely excited to see him. But you said the word healing, and one of the reasons why I was like, my mind was made up. I was like, I'm not gonna go. Blah blah blah. And then one of the things was like, okay, I have so much resentment towards my college experience and like my loans and everything is like, would going here, like I wouldn't go to my 15-year, 20-year, whatever.
Like,
would it
redefine
be
it.
taking it back, healing, redefining? Is there something
I'm
to
in a
that?
much better place now, and like this doesn't like have the same impact.
This
on me.
institution didn't do anything to me. I just like, it was not the right
or whatever it did like is past.
right. Sure.
Right. It could be that. It's like there's some things in life where you just gotta walk away and go, okay, that I'm gonna have to do the work on that.
Sure.
Like I'm like, even when somebody hurts you, like I'm starting to see that the karma doesn't always come around. Like I feel like there's some people who do horrible shit in life and just carry on living.
Yep.
And die happily and rich, and they've never felt the karma. Maybe
That can't be true.
I think a lot of there's quite a few
100%.
people who
It's
get through life with no
100%
karma.
True. Yeah.
Really?
I like
Yeah.
to think though that they're internally they're miserable and we just don't know about it.
Right.
Like that's the comfort that I offer myself.
Yeah, and maybe like going back to what we were saying, maybe you're looking for karma, like financial karma or heartbreak karma.
Or spiritual karma.
But some people could be going through some shit you
I
don't
like
see.
to think they're suffering just like internally. Just internally.
I wake myself up every morning and I look at myself in the mirror and I go, my enemies are internally suffering.
Yeah.
Spiritually.
Yeah.
Deeply.
Just dance on the graves of all those who doubted me.
Or you can go there and just have like fun. You can just
I'm going there for one. If I go, I'm going to go there for one night. I'm like coming off of visiting my dad, Chris Canaan, friend of the pod. He's actually on.
We
the
had him on.
podcast.
He's an
awesome.
astrologer, and he did my
hit on
star
Maria,
chart.
and they're probably going to get married.
Yeah, and I'm
but-
gonna be Gracie's stepmom.
So
It's
I'm gonna
be
like,
so amazing.
mommy. So I'm gonna escape and be there for like fucking 14 hours.
Yeah.
So I don't.
And if you
know.
hate it, you'll be
Fucking
gone.
leave.
So
I'll have a
soon.
car.
do what's the thing called? What do you call it? Grading? What? Just walk up to somebody and say, "What's
Negging?
up, you fat unemployed
Oh,
bitch?"
negging.
Should I show up in a leather jacket with slicked hair and just be like, I'm the fucking bad girl of
Just-
the art school?
Go as a character, like literally just whatever you want to do.
You should dress like Mystery. That's the character with like the steampunk glasses and like the velvet cape. Like you should dress like that guy.
Again, art school, all of the illustration kids will be dressed like
just
that.
like theater kids, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I learned? I was very naughty in school, and I ended up dropping
the
out.
word naughty. I love how
But I was a
say naughty.
I was a bad kid. I was dyslexic. I'm dyslexic,
Yeah,
and
you
like
earned that earring. Hell yeah. Whatever to know as a bad boy.
That is a bad boy earring. That's true.
I just didn't give a shit about school because like some of the teachers, like you get some teachers that stand out. Like my English teacher was amazing. She just didn't get. She has one teacher where you wouldn't misbehave.
Because you respected her.
She would just have your respect, like you're walking quietly. And then the other teachers where you're just like, yo, let's see how far we can push you.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Like there's we made a dude cry, like our geography teacher. He
Oh
cried.
my God.
The man sat at his desk and cried.
Oh my
like this.
God.
And we all just look at him like, yeah.
Oh, man, you
kids are the
monsters.
And it was
fucking monsters.
It's horrible. And you realize like this dude was, I'm 36 now. He's probably like my age. He has a life. Like you don't know what's going on. But as a kid, you just like, you teach me and go home and think of other ways to teach me.
Yeah.
Like I'm on your mind.
I'm occupying.
I
your
am the
space in your
sun.
mind.
You are the solar
You're
system.
taking up. It's living rent free in his mind.
You don't know a person's going home to cook for their family and that shit. It's
Yeah.
like, I am your priority in
That's
life.
what they should teach middle schoolers. Empathy 101.
Yeah.
Okay.
But sorry. Oh,
Go ahead.
I'll be quick. And my mom, who's a teacher, she once overheard her saying to another teacher, I was in trouble. And she's like, oh, he's so scared because I had detention for a month. And then she went, oh, he thinks he's going to jail. If only he knew this thing doesn't matter. and
That's when it clicked.
and like I was like, I don't give a fuck anymore.
This is
I
a
was
simulation.
Like, this thing, I understood immediately at like 7th grade that this thing is the small part of my life.
Yeah.
And would you have been a comedian if you hadn't made that?
No, probably not.
Right.
So it's your mom's fault that you're in comedy.
It's my mom's fault.
Isn't it all of our mom's fault that
Yeah,
we're
Robbie's
in comedy?
mom, friend of the pod.
Look what you did to me. I'm in Brooklyn doing a podcast.
Yeah. What could be worse?
Thank you, Mom.
Okay, so we have
falling apart.
about 5 minutes left. Do you have a stay hot tip for us that you want to share?
Stay hot.
Is it to get a bad boy earring?
Is this stay hot tip? Who's it for? Can it be for anyone?
Yeah, it can be for
anyone
anyone
and everyone.
I mean,
Or
hopefully
it
you're
can
not
be
targeting it at either of us. Like,
How can I help
I have
you
two different ones for you that I cannot wait to tell you.
yeah, you're like, Maria, I have notes. Okay.
So, person single, right? Well, just general. Okay.
Yeah.
I think
You can
How do
target
you-
single people.
I think a great thing to stay hot is really emotionally. I think for me, I noticed that I can't. I'll either do workouts and gym, but then I neglect like therapy.
Yeah.
So I say if your mind is right, in general, I think everything else seems to flow easier.
Yep.
Focus on your mental, and not just your mental health. I think not just your mental health. I think it's actually doing the work for it. Like journaling is a huge thing.
I agree.
Journal. Just see how you feel. I think a lot of people know what they don't want, but actually, what do you want? Like, write it down.
Yeah, no both.
Yeah, know both. I think that's a great thing to have, and be open to like surrendering, man. Like life always works out as long as you're not hurting anybody.
Then it's okay.
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to make mistakes and carry on and figure out where it is. Where you want to be in life.
You know, your tip was supposed to be funny. No, I'm just kidding.
Was
that was
it?
absolutely a joke. That was a joke.
I'm slapping the
That's not-
whole thing on a poster and then we're going to sell it as merch. You get no percentage.
Oh my God.
That was beautiful. No, I mean, we know as like three fucking psychos in this room. Andrea, is that okay if I rope you in as one? Okay.
Andrea,
that, like,
huge psycho.
we can be psycho producer, friend of the pod. But like, we know it's like, if you guys think that like being mentally sound doesn't make your life easier, well, just think about how being mentally unsound makes your life way fucking harder.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
that is, we're like, I can't do like the art. Oh yeah. Nope. I'm done. I'm good. Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sweet.
The podcast ends. You know what we forgot to do is we forgot to have you plug your plugs up front. So tell them where they can find you on the internet.
Oh, you guys can find me on Instagram, Robby Collins _ Robby with the Y, and then Facebook page, just Robby Collins.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about are you on TikTok? Are you
I'm on TikTok. Yes, Robby Collins _08.
Oh my God. You
There's a
really
lot of Robby
love
Collins out
it.
there.
That's well
Do 3 eyes.
You're the
Robbie.
8th one.
Robbie the 8th.
Okay. Gracie work. Oh, sorry. What were we gonna say?
Thank you for having me.
Thank
my
you for
God,
doing it.
You were such
Thank
a
you.
delight.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're so fun.
You guys were fun. I'm happy I came through.
Well,
You're the
we're happy
first-
that you came through too.
The first guest that's ever asked if they can swear on here.
That was adorable. That was so cute that you thought we had like a
Guys.
Christian podcast.
All your Christian followers.
Follow
I'm sorry, you
us.
fat bitches.
Unemployed.
episode.
Unemployed.
Unemployed
fat
fat
bitch.
bitches.
Guys, you can follow us on Hot Dads Pod. I'm
On
Save
Instagram.
Gracie Canaan.
I'm Maria Heinegg.
Yep.
And this has been Hot Dads Podcast. Yay!